The first time Captain Elias Ward saw the heir to the Xylenian throne, she was holding a blade to his throat. Her eyes, molten silver beneath the twin moons, didn't blink. Her voice was calm, measured, and terrifyingly certain. You trespass in the sacred garden. Human, give me one reason not to end you where you stand. Elias froze, not because of the blade, but because of her aura, the quiet, regal command of someone who'd never been defied. He'd faced warlords, assassins, and alien predators before, but nothing prepared him for a Princess Kalira of House Vera, daughter of the Fiat Queen Isra. I'm not here to trespass, Elias said slowly, hands raised. I'm here because your people asked for my help. Her eyes narrowed. We did not ask. The council did. My mother tolerates humans. She does not trust them. Then she's not the only one taking a risk, Elias replied. Something flickered in her gaze. Not anger, something closer to curiosity. Then she lowered the blade, only slightly. You speak boldly for a man in chains. I speak plainly, he said. That's why they sent me. The faintest ghost of a smile touched her lips. Then you are either very brave or very foolish, maybe both. That was the moment, though neither of them knew it yet, when the fate of two worlds began to shift. Days later, Elias stood before Queen Isra herself. The throne room was carved from living crystal, its walls pulsing with soft bioluminescent veins. The queen's gaze was sharper than her daughter's blade. Her crown, an intricate lattice of metal and bone, cast shifting shadows across her emerald skin. So the humans send a soldier, not a diplomat, she said. Why? Elias bowed slightly. Because soldiers understand survival, Your Majesty, and survival is what your people need. The room went still. Kalira, standing beside her mother, looked between them. Isra's lips curved in a faint, dangerous smile. Interesting answer. Human, you speak like one who has lost much. I've seen enough war to know what peace costs, Elias said. Then you understand what is at stake, the queen said. Our peace is bleeding. The rebel houses circle like wolves. They claim my line has grown weak, that my daughter is unfit to rule. Kalira's fists clenched, but she said nothing. I need an outsider, Izara continued, one untainted by our politics, someone who can guard the heir, not only her life, but her legacy. The council has recommended you. Elias blinked. You want me to be a protector, not want, Izara corrected. Command. The declaration echoed through the crystalline chamber. Kalira stepped forward, her silver eyes blazing. Mother, this is absurd. He's human. They cannot even enough, Izara said sharply. The decision is made. Elias met the princess's furious stare. Looks like we're stuck with each other. Her jaw tightened. Then you'd better learn to duck quickly. Human, he grinned. I've had practice. Outside, thunder rolled over the alien sky, a sound that always preceded change. Neither of them yet knew it, but the storm had already begun. The tone deepens here. Emotional tension, quiet moments of trust, and the first glimpse of danger inside the royal palace. The royal palace of Eleni was unlike anything Elias had ever seen. It wasn't built, it was grown, towering spires of crystalline trees intertwined with veins of silver and veins of light, pulsing gently like a living organism. The air shimmered with the faint hum of energy. Everything felt alive, watching, listening, judging, and everywhere he went, Elias felt eyes on him. Whispers followed him through the corridors. The human, the queen's pet, her daughter's new shadow. Kalira ignored the rumors, or pretended to. She walked with the poise of someone trained since birth to never reveal weakness. But Elias noticed the small things, the flick of her ear when she was annoyed, the way her hand lingered near the hilt of her blade when she was uncertain. Their partnership began as silence. Days of training in the palace courtyard, where her blade flashed like lightning while Elias moved with a soldier's precision. Nights spent reviewing defense protocols, side by side but worlds apart. At first, she tested him. Subtle provocations, hidden traps in the training arena, even a harmless venom test in his wine. He passed them all. Still alive, he'd say after each one. She'd smirk faintly, barely, but beneath her sharp wit and cool composure, Elias saw something else. Fear. Not of him, but of what surrounded her. The court, the council, the quiet threat of rebellion growing beyond the palace walls. One evening, after another grueling day of combat drills, Kalira found him alone on one of the palace terraces. The twin moons painted the world below in shades of silver and violet. Elias stood leaning on the railing, gazing out at the alien city that glowed like a living constellation. You train like a man expecting war, she said. He didn't look back, because war doesn't wait for invitations. Do humans ever rest? He smiled faintly. Only when we forget what's at stake. Kalira moved closer, her expression unreadable. And what is at stake for you? Captain Ward, you guard me as if your own life depends on it. Maybe it does, he said quietly. Your mother entrusted me with something that could end or save two species. I take that seriously. Her silver eyes softened the first crack in her carefully built armor. My people do not easily trust outsiders, she said. You must understand. Our history with your kind is carved in scars. I know, Elias said. Humans are good at leaving scars, but sometimes we learn long silence pass between them, broken only by the whisper of alien winds. Finally, Kalira spoke. Tomorrow, The council convenes. There are members who would see my mother dethroned and me removed. Assassination? Elias asked. Jachi hesitated, then nodded once. They call it purification. They believe our bloodline has been corrupted by empathy, weakness. Elias turned to face her fully. Then they've never met a mother trying to protect her child. Kelleher blinked, startled by the raw conviction in his tone. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. If anyone comes for you, he said, they'll go through me first. You would die for a people not your own. He looked her in the eyes. You'd be surprised what humans will do once they decide someone is their own. Something changed then, subtle but undeniable. The princess who once saw him as a trespasser now looked at him as something else entirely when she turned away. Elias caught the faintest shimmer of unease, or perhaps hope, from the shadows above the terrace, unseen by either of them. A figure cloaked in iridescent armor watched and listened. The faint red glow of its visor reflected like a drop of blood in the moonlight. Report, a voice crackled in the spy's earpiece. Do they suspect? Not yet, came the reply, but they're growing close. Good, the voice said. When the bond is strongest, we strike. And far below, in the heart of the palace, the storm began to stir. The council chamber of Xylan was a cathedral of light. Every wall a living crystal that sang softly with the pulse of the world itself. Queen Serana stood at the center dais, her emerald armor gleaming beneath the sacred glow. Beside her, Princess Kelleher held her head high, and at her side, silent and watchful, stood Captain Elias Ward. It was meant to be a ceremony of peace. Instead, it became the moment the Empire almost fell. The council gathered in a crescent around them, 12 figures of immense power, cloaked in iridescent robes that shimmered like oil on water. Serana spoke first, her voice calm but resolute. The time has come to formalize unity between our people and humanity. The wars of the past must end with us. Murmurs rippled through the chamber, disapproval, disbelief, even disgust. And then Councillor Vrax stood, tall, skeletal, his features sharp as blades. Vrax's voice carried a venomous grace. You speak of peace, majesty, yet you bring a human weapon into this sacred chamber. You would have us kneel before the species that scorched our worlds. Elias said nothing. His orders were clear. Protect, observe, don't provoke. But Kelleher stepped forward. Captain Ward saved my life. He carries no weapon of conquest, only the courage your soldiers lacked when they hid behind words while others bled. A sharp intake of breath swept through the chamber. The insult was deadly. Vrax's eyes gleamed with something far darker than outrage. You've grown bold, child. Perhaps too bold. Maybe the purity of the royal line truly is lost. Before anyone could react, his hand snapped outward, a thin blade of plasma erupting from his wrist. Kelleher froze, too close, too exposed. Elias moved. Time slowed. He shoved her back, the plasma slicing through his side in a blinding flash. The sound of burning flesh filled the chamber. He hit the floor hard but came up swinging, his combat reflexes overriding pain. The hidden guards Vrax had stationed burst from the walls, traitors in royal armor, weapons drawn. The coup had begun. Protect the queen, Kelleher shouted, drawing her blade in a single fluid motion. Serana's voice cut through the chaos. Elias, guard my daughter. He didn't need telling twice. Blood soaking through his uniform, he pulled Kelleher behind a fallen crystal pillar, firing bursts from his compact plasma pistol. Each shot echoed like thunder in the sacred hall. You're hit, Kelleher cried. Nothing vital. He lied. The truth was far worse. The burn was deep, every breath a struggle, but pain didn't matter. Not yet. Across the chamber, Serana fought like a storm, her blade a comet of green light, which she was outnumbered. Vrax's conspirators were closing in. Elias, Kelleher turned, desperate. We have to help her. He met her gaze, saw the fear there and something more. Trust, faith. It was enough. On 3, he said. You go left, I'll draw them right. Together, she insisted. He almost smiled. Together, they charged, human grit and alien grace, 2 warriors moving as one. Elias took down the first assassin with a precise shot to the chest. Kelleher cut through the second with an upward arc that left trails of light in the air. By the time they reached the dais, only Vrax remained standing over the wounded queen. Blade raised for the final strike. Elias didn't think. He just moved. He slammed into Vrax with the full force of his armor, sending them both crashing through a wall of crystal. The plasma blade went skittering across the floor. Elias pinned the alien traitor beneath him. Forearm pressed to his throat. Vrax sneered. You think you can stop what's coming? Human. The council will never follow your queen once they see her weakness for your kind. Ilias's jaw tightened. Then they'll see her strength instead. He raised his sidearm and fired. The shot echoed through the chamber. Final, absolute. When he staggered back through the shattered wall, his vision blurred. Kelleher caught him before he fell, her hand slick with his blood. Stay with me, she said fiercely. That's an order. He tried to smirk but couldn't. Yes, ma'am. Serana, supported by loyal guards, stepped forward, her face pale but composed. Captain Ward, she said softly, your courage has bought us time. You've saved my daughter and our future. Elias managed a nod. Just doing my job, Your Majesty. Not just, Kelleher whispered. You did more. She pressed her forehead to his, the ancient gesture of her people, sacred and intimate. Her voice broke as she spoke the words no outsider had ever heard from royal lips. "You are family now." And then, everything went quiet. Weeks later, the great hall of Xylan was filled with light once more, not for mourning, but for renewal. Queen Serana stood before her people, flanked by Kellara and a line of human envoys. At the foot of the dais, a new banner hung. The twin symbols of Earth and Xylan intertwined. She spoke, her voice echoing through the crystalline walls. "The man who stood where I stand now was not born of our world, yet he defended it with a courage that no species can claim as its own. His sacrifice ended. His spirit binds us together." Kalira stepped forward, laying a ceremonial blade upon a pedestal of light. Its hilt bore human and alien engravings entwined, Ilias's name carved in both languages. "This is not a farewell," she said. "It is a promise that we will be worthy of the peace he died for." As the chamber bowed their heads in unison, the light from the living crystals pulsed once brighter, stronger, as if the world itself remembered. Far above the planet, a statue was already being forged in orbit, a human soldier kneeling beside a young alien princess, both looking toward the stars. They called it the Guardian of Two Worlds, and somewhere in the vastness of the galaxy, perhaps in the whispers of starlight or the hum of a living world, the courage of one human continued to echo, reminding them all that sometimes the strongest bridge between civilizations is the heart willing to stand between them.